I know plenty of people who fill their lives with music. Some cannot start their days without music. That is why I decided to make this video essay so you can get more out of the music you listen to every day. I'm going to talk about two very simple techniques that you can use. One involves imagery and the other involves delayed gratification. Try these two techniques and I promise you will have a more personal and meaningful experience with your music. Before I dive into this, I want to share with you a personal story about my experiences with music. In my early 20s, I went to college from 8 in the morning to about 3 in the afternoon. I immediately hopped in my Jeep and drove down to Subway, where I worked until 11 or 12 at night, depending on how busy the store was. This was usually my daily schedule, and I even worked on most Saturdays. I was so incredibly exhausted, and yet I found myself studying and doing homework on my lunch breaks just to keep up with the demands of my university. One winter evening, after a long shift at Subway, I decided to listen to Bon Iver's 2007 folk song, Skinny Love. I remember walking in the parking lot at midnight, soaked in my own sweat and still shivering in the cold evening air. My feet hurt, and I remember sitting in my Jeep listening to Skinny Love underneath a hoodie that I used for a blanket. It felt so good, and I made a habit of doing this every night. I even abstained from listening to music altogether throughout the day just so I could make the most of Skinny Love. When I listen to Skinny Love today, my mind circles back to those memories, almost to the point where the song has a personalized meaning for me that is connected to my early 20s. Both the imagery and delayed gratification techniques are at play here. Let's take a deeper look. Let's start with imagery. Use your imagination to let music teleport you to new places. For example, I'm a big fan of the classic jazz album, Relaxin' with the Miles Davis Quintet. There are all kinds of wonderful musical things I can talk about with this album, like the harmonious and almost conversational solo trading between Miles Davis's trumpet and John Coltrane's sax. However, I do not have the time, patience, or intelligence to dive into the mechanics of jazz music. However, I can tell you what images cross my mind when enjoying this album. I am lost in some murky back alley in New York City. I see a cat hiding behind a metal trash can that almost looks like the ones from Tom and Jerry cartoons. When I listen to a song like Despacito by Fonsi, I picture myself in a club in Colombia, living it up beneath the glow of blue strobe lights. Conjuring up these sorts of images can be difficult at first, but anyone can start by focusing on memories certain songs give them. These songs plant real images in our minds of the things we saw and felt when we heard them for the very first time, much like my Subway story. Start off like this, and I guarantee you will be able to master musical teleportation in no time. Next, we have delayed gratification. Imagine how it was in the 60s when people waited months for a Beatles record to drop. Sure, Beyoncé can catch us off guard when she drops a surprise album overnight, but nothing really squares up to the pent-up anticipation people felt when they waited for the next Beatles record. Check this out. Even with iTunes and Spotify, you can still get this sensation from your music. All you gotta do is think of your favorite music and put it off a bit until you feel like you earned it. People who know me know I love Metallica. I might listen to Opeth or Mayhem on the way to work, but I wait until Friday night before I put on a Metallica album. If you are a student, try this technique while you are writing your papers. Play some basic background lo-fi or jazz while you are working, and celebrate with your favorite jams once you are done. What you are doing is pairing your favorite music with productivity itself so that both experiences are enhanced by the other. Your work will become more meaningful and so will your music. If you do not trust me, scientists have been testing this on rats for decades. So, if you want to have a more personal and meaningful engagement with your music, use your music to paint a picture in your mind and force yourself to earn your favorite jams. Not only will you have a deeper experience with your jams, you will begin to develop a taste for the good stuff. So, try it out.